Your thoughts?
What? What? Who?
Nice.
That's from a different interview. Gary will be on Friday. Welcome to Monday, the day after St. Patrick's Day, as we are all recovering here in the heart of the 618. Man, it was so much fun, though, to see so many of you and stopping by and saying hi and let me know you watch some of the shows or watch the interviews. There was a lot of people out this weekend, and really cool to be a part of all that fun, but I'm going to be honest with you. Today and yesterday, still a little bit sleepy from all the shenanigans, but we still got a great show for you today. Luis Noya will call in about 16 minutes, and we'll get the latest on the St. Louis sports scene. Then at 10:10, we're going to be talking to Michael Fifer, who is the executive director of the Madison County Theater Company. They have an upcoming show called Disaster that we're going to get the latest on. And then around 10:30, we're going to talk to Patrick McRae, and we're going to get the latest on his campaign. His primary day is here tomorrow, and RiverBender.com will be bringing you the election night coverage too. I'll be on at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and we'll give you the winners, we'll give you the insights, some conversations, and all of that great stuff happening, as always, throughout that broadcast night. But at 9:04, here's what's happening around the Riverbend. Make sure you sign up for your daily email update where you can join myself and over 70,000 people in the know with Around the Riverbend. We'll take you to East St. Louis first. Illinois State Police conducted Operation Nighthawk on March the 11th through the 13th in St. Clair and Madison counties, focusing its efforts on the East St. Louis and neighboring Metro East communities. The operation utilized intelligence and technology to target known high-crime areas, violent offenders, and structured criminal groups in the communities of the Metro East. There were 32 arrests, 56 felony charges, 69 criminal charges, 47 firearm-related charges, 19 firearms seized, and almost 200 grams of controlled substances seized as well, 199.1 grams. There were several notable events and arrests during the detail. On March the 11th, troopers made a traffic stop in the area of Terrace Drive and State Street in East St. Louis. When the vehicle stopped, a passenger attempted to run, but troopers were able to catch up to the passenger and subsequently recovered a stolen handgun, extended magazine, and another firearm. On March the 13th, ISP officers patrolling in the area of Roosevelt Homes housing complex saw several juveniles running with firearms. Officers chased down the juveniles and took one into custody, recovering a loaded firearm with a high-capacity drum magazine. On March the 13th, troopers stopped a vehicle in Cahokia Heights where they found a loaded firearm with a high-capacity magazine and took the occupants into custody. More than 50 officers from around the state, including ISP Troops 3, 5, 6, 8, and 10, ISP Fatal 4 Team, the ISP Division of Criminal Investigations Zone 6, the Public Safety Enforcement Group, Air Operations, joined forces with the ISP Special Operation Group statewide anti-violence enforcement unit for the multi-day operation. Back here locally, Sidney Sinks filled us in out of the Brighton area. The National Weather Service confirmed 3 tornadoes in Jersey County during the storms on Thursday. The first tornado touched down south of Jerseyville from 7:28 to 7:38 in the morning. The second tornado touched down south of Fidelity from 7:44 to 7:48 a.m., and it also damaged a grain silo. The third tornado touched down north of Brighton. Between 7:46 and 7:48 a.m., there was damage to trees, fencing, roofs, and siding, according to the National Weather Service. These tornadoes in Jersey County caused significant damage to power lines in the area, leaving thousands without power for several hours. A fourth tornado was confirmed in Charlotte, Missouri. Also in the news, Dalton Brown reporting out of Edwardsville that 4 individuals have been involved in battery and domestic battery cases in Madison County, including 2 individuals facing their second or subsequent domestic battery offense. John A. Hammond, 44 of Alton, charged with 2 counts of aggravated battery, 2 counts of possession of a controlled substance, and 1 count of fleeing. 1 count each of fleeing or attempting to elude a peace officer, driving while license is suspended, and unlawful possession of methamphetamine. On the 29th of November, Hammond allegedly fled from police in a motor vehicle, speeding at least 21 miles per hour over the limit and ignoring the visual and audible signals from officers to stop. He was charged for use after using his vehicle to strike another officer's vehicle and faces 3 additional charges for possession of meth, fentanyl, and cocaine at the time of the offense. 3 Class 4 felonies, 2 Class 3 felonies, and Class 2 super felony charge were all filed against Hammond in Madison County on March the 7th. His case presented by the Alton Police Department, and he was reportedly remanded to be held in jail until his initial appearance in court. Jerry Allen, 63 of Granite City, was charged with a second or subsequent offense of domestic battery, a Class 4 felony. Allen had previously been convicted of domestic battery in 1995 in St. Clair County. In the latest case, Allen allegedly struck a household or family member about the head multiple times with a closed fist, according to documents. A petition to deny Allen's pretrial release states that he has also been previously charged with violating a protective order, which, in addition to his previous domestic battery charge, have all been committed against the same victim. The state will reportedly seek an enhanced Class 4 sentence against Allen, given his prior domestic battery conviction. The Granite City Police Department presented Allen's latest case, and he was remanded to be held in jail until his initial appearance in court. Andy Barker, 42 of Edwardsville, was also charged with a second subsequent offense of domestic battery. Barker allegedly struck a household member or family member in the face with his hand on March the 2nd. Barker's case was presented by the Edwardsville Police Department. He faces a Class 4 felony, has since been released upon his signature of conditions, a pretrial release order. Danny L. Fear, 45 of Collinsville, was charged with 2 counts of domestic battery and 1 count of unlawful restraint. According to court documents, on March the 6th, Fear allegedly struck and pushed the victim, a household or family member, about the body with his hands and detained them without legal authority, according to court documents. Fear faces a Class 4 felony for unlawful restraint and 2 Class A misdemeanors for both counts of domestic battery. The Collinsville police presented this case to the Madison County State's Attorney's Office, and he was remanded to be held in jail until his initial appearance in court. Sydney Sinks reporting out of Grafton that the village of Grafton is welcoming a new business, Go-Go May's Sunday Scoop, to their community. The restaurant celebrated their grand opening at 2 p.m. with a ribbon cutting on March the 16th. The business, located at 222 East Main Street in Grafton, formerly the Whole Scoop. New business sells coffee, breakfast items, burgers, salads, and more, with, of course, plenty of ice cream options for dessert. We just want to become part of the community, said Kurt Golozwaki, who owns the business with Ella Maybury. It's important to me to have quality food that people want and like. That's just my passion. For the future, we hope to grow and become a beloved destination. Mayberry was driving home from work one day when she saw the Whole Scoop was for sale. She decided to collaborate to provide fresh and quality food for Grafton's residents and its visitors. The business offers a walk-up service and drive-through for everyone to enjoy. The new name, Go-Go May's Sunday Scoop, combines both owners' last names. They are also proud to introduce the Cherry on Top, a 2-bedroom loft above the store that they will rent out to visitors. For more information about staying in the Cherry on Top, you can email graftoncherryontop@gmail.com or call 618-781-1750. While March the 16th was the business's grand opening, they had had a few successful days since their soft opening on Sunday, March the 10th. Both Mayberry and Gogolowski are looking forward to seeing how the business continues to grow in the village. For more information, you can visit the official Facebook page at GoGo May's Sunday Scoop on Facebook. Also in the news, out of Edwardsville, Madison County continues to see cases of theft presented by local law enforcement agencies, including one case of a woman charged with stealing 4 times from the same Walmart and 2 men from Michigan deceiving their way into stealing over $1,000 of combined products. Peaches L. Winston, 42 of St. Louis, was charged with 3 counts of retail theft over $300 and 1 count of retail theft under $300, each stemming from 4 separate instances from December 2023 to February 2024 at the Walmart located at 379 Pontoon Road in Granite City. On December the 1st, Winston reportedly stole over $300 worth of toys and clothing items from Walmart in Granite City. She then re-entered the same Walmart on January the 8th and stole hygiene products and a coffee maker, having a total combined value of less than $300. On January 21st, she was charged with stealing over $300 worth of household items, clothing, and jewelry before finally being charged with the same crime at the same Walmart a 4th time on February the 12th, when she allegedly stole $300 worth of vehicle batteries and various items. Winston faces 3 Class 3 felonies for each offense of retail theft over $300, as well as a Class 4 felony for the one charge of retail theft under $300. Her case was presented by the Granite City Police Department, and she was reportedly released after signing a condition of pretrial release order. Also in the news, out of Alton, Dalton Brown reporting that 3 individuals, 2 from Alton and 1 from St. Louis, have been charged in Madison County with weapon-related offenses and more, according to records. One case involves a firearm serial number being removed, while the other 2 involve theft and a suspended driver's license. Jaharet M. Stansberry, 23 of St. Louis, was charged with aggravated unlawful use of weapons and defacing identification marks of a firearm. Stansberry allegedly carried a Glock 9mm firearm in his vehicle, which was uncased and unloaded with ammunition immediately accessible. The gun serial number had been removed. According to court documents, Stansberry had no concealed carry at the time of the offense. Stansberry charged with a Class 4 felony and for the unlawful use of the weapons charge, and a Class 3 felony for defacing identification marks on a firearm. His case was presented by the East Alton Police Department, and he has since been released after signing a conditions of pretrial release order. Datrion L. Mack, 23 of Alton, was charged with unlawful use of weapons and retail theft on March the 7th from an incident that occurred on January the 8th. Here's what we know. According to court documents, Mack carried a J.A. Industries 9mm handgun on his person, which was uncased, loaded, and immediately accessible at the time of the offense. Mack had no FOID card or concealed carry license. He was additionally charged with stealing less than $300 worth of energy drinks from the Hit and Run convenience store at 1818 Washington Avenue. Mack faces a Class 4 felony for the weapons charge and a Class A misdemeanor for the retail theft charge. The Alton Police Department did present his case, and he has since been released upon his signature of conditions. Roderick E. Scott, 26 of Alton, charged with 1 count each of aggravated unlawful use of weapons and driving while license is suspended. According to court documents, on March the 7th, Scott allegedly possessed an immediately accessible Smith & Wesson 9mm handgun in his vehicle when he had no valid FOID card or concealed carry license when he was caught on January the 12th, 2024. Scott was charged with a Class 4 felony for the weapons charge and a Class A misdemeanor for driving on a suspended license. His case was presented by the Alton Police Department, and he was released after signing his conditions of pretrial release order. Let's take a look at weather. Boy, it dropped down to February real fast, hasn't it? It is 28 degrees out there, and folks, it feels like 26, but look how beautiful downtown Alton looks today, man. How about that? Sunny skies, the Clark Bridge, the mighty Mississippi rolling on by. You can see the St. Louis portion of the Metro East and West Alton, and then the Alton Amphitheater in all of its glory. Man, always cool to see that. We'll have to get connected to the city of Alton and see if we can add any more cameras to it. Always great to see the heart of the 618 full of sunshine and folks coming to and from. It's 28 degrees right now, but temperatures will reach 40 today. Today will be brisk and chilly with sunshine, and patchy clouds. Tonight, clear and cold. Early vegetation can be damaged by the frost or the freeze, so if you have any plants outside already, hey, I jumped the gun too. Go ahead and put some plastic bags over them, and we'll make it through another chilly March evening. Temperatures reach 40 degrees today, drop down to 26 overnight, but thank goodness there is hope. On Tuesday, a high of 67 degrees, a low of 36. On Wednesday, a high of 53, a low of 31. On Thursday, a high of 47 degrees, a low of 40. And then on Friday, a high of 57, a low of 38, with a 60% chance that we're getting some rain. With that being said, it is 28 degrees at 9:18 for time and temperature throughout the day. 618-465-4545. That's 618-465-4545. Sorry, I bounced away from my microphone because this time the weather line is sponsored by Bounce Back Rehab, Recover, and give them a chance to help you bounce back. You can call 618-498-6441 or visit libertyvillageofjerseyville.com for more information on Bounce Back. 9:19, a quick break. Luis Noya, he joins us next.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone. And over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Dream Home Realty Center.
Hey, Sherry, talk to me, Dream Team.
We've got Joey.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or a weekend warrior, gear up with Falcommit and elevate your hunting experience. From rugged gear for the seasoned hunter to adorable outfits for the little ones, we've got your whole family covered. Literally, because the best moments are made in the great outdoors. And with Falcommit, you're not just wearing gear, you're wearing the stories of your adventures. Discover the joy of hunting together. Visit Falcommit.com and outfit your family for the next generations of memories.
We are Phillips 66 Wood River Refinery. We make the fuels that take us to work and our children to school. We make materials and energy products that allow us to stay connected to each other. We care about the quality and safety of our products because we care about the communities we share. Our employees live our values of safety, honor, and a commitment to act as good neighbors where we live and operate. We are Phillips 66. When life throws unexpected challenges your way, you need a versatile legal ally to protect you. Sean Lentz, with over 12 years of experience, is here to help you in a variety of avenues. From personal injury to criminal defense and even semi-truck accidents, Sean Lentz has your back. Don't wait for the justice that you deserve. Call 618-465-8000 and see how Sean can help you today.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Welcome back, 922. Oh, Luis, it's a Monday. It is such a Monday. How are we doing today, man?
I'm good, and it's also a Monday after St. Patrick's weekend, so a lot of people are recovering.
Yes, they are. And with that being said, how are the St. Louis sports scenes looking?
Very good. That's good. Let's start with the breaking news that actually happened on Friday afternoon, and that is going from Jupiter, Florida. The Cardinals signed Ollie Marmol for a 2-year contract.
Such a joke. I mean, this is insane. I'm so glad you brought this up first. Nothing says you were successful like the most embarrassing team in the league last year, and let's reward that with a contract extension before we even get to the regular season. That makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, it really does. That's like me not performing and doing what, someone else could do and reach 5 people and then expecting to get $120,000 next year.
Yes, there's that point, but also there's the point of, okay, are we actually going to put this guy in purgatory with all the Yadier Molina and also the Albert Pujol nonsense going on this season? That's another we going to say it. Again, I don't necessarily agree with the 2 years, maybe extend it for 1 year.
I would extend it for 2 seconds. That's what he deserves. This guy is not a coach. And, I'm sorry, last year, and this is just me, I'm tired of this idea that, we don't need to change. That's what John Mozeliak's saying. Oh, we're all comfortable again. We're all comfortable. Let's give Ollie a couple of years, forget the 60, the whatever, how many games we won. Let's forget about the embarrassment. And let's just move on, and let's give this guy millions of dollars. And then when the fans start complaining in the spring or the summer, then we'll act again. This is a joke.
Again, this is from Mo. Over the past 2 seasons, we have experienced a lot of differences, a lot of different emotions, both up and down. And through it all, Ollie has helped us navigate us through these challenging times.
Oh yeah,
Ollie has the support of our players, our coaching staff, and the front office.
But Mike Schilt, who tells you that they don't agree with the way that you think, you get rid of him in 30 seconds. This makes sense.
Mike Schilt did it differently.
Well, Mike, because he didn't sit there and get on and kiss the butt of John Mozeliak. And look what happened. I mean, Luis.
John Mozeliak told the owners, I want him fired.
Right. I mean, this is insane. It's one thing if Ollie Marmol turned it around at the second half of the season and won, an unprecedented number of games, and we ended up, looking average. But we were embarrassed last year. That's no different than you, Luis, ruining 3 remotes in a row that you guys are on scene for, and you botch them all, and then you go into the managerial office and they give you a raise.
Yes. Again, it was. There's a reason they did it on Friday too, right?
Right.
It's news dumping, right?
Exactly right. Spineless.
But again, it's again. If they were gonna do this, they would have done it. Let's say in December. Let's say the week of winter warm-up or the week before winter warm-up, right?
Right.
Saying, okay, whatever happened last year, because whatever happened last year, it wasn't Ollie's fault, right? It was the people that signed Ollie. There were at fault there. It was John Mozeliak, it was Michael Gersh, it was the people that created the roster, right? Right. Because that roster was flawed.
Well, no, it's the in-game stuff too, Luis. It was the in-game stuff too.
Well, it doesn't help that the in-game stuff you're batching with players. It doesn't help that the pitching coach didn't know what to do. It doesn't help that the bench coach was just afraid of his job, right? So Ollie was doing the job of 3 people.
Regardless, you're still the manager. Tony La Russa was still on the hook for Dave Duncan.
But Dave Duncan was the most prepared people in the world.
Well, I understand what you're
Have you seen that binder?
Well, I understand what you're saying there, but the bottom line is he's still responsible for the coaches, good or bad. I mean, to me, you can't just say, well, none of this was Ali Marmot's fault. If I could suck at my job and be awarded an extension is beyond me.
Yeah, but Ali they only have 1 year. Again, that's the thing that Ali didn't. It was just 1 year of being bad. Again, again, and remember, Ali was in the staff, the big league staff with Schilt. I think Maffini there at the end with Maffini. So let's say 2017, 2018. So Ali has been in the big leagues for a while.
Well, then, to me, there's no excuse for not being organized. I mean, because I'm sorry. I just think this was awful. I think John Mozeliak needs to go. I think the Cardinals owe all of us an apology. The way that they did this was a middle finger on a Friday night to say, hey, here's the guy that you all can't stand. We're going to give him 2 more years because of how great last season went.
You know what happens in 2 more years, too?
Well, we know hopefully it's going to be the Yadier Molina show, but we don't know that.
No. Not that circus. 2 years, John Mozeliak's contract expires too.
Oh, well, that makes sense then. That way he can go out with his buddy, I guess. I don't know. I just think that John Mozeliak is the worst thing to happen to Cardinals baseball the last 4 years. Not saying what he did before that wasn't good, but the last 4 have been absolutely dismal at best, and it's just awful.
I think. And it will be a line or two, and because again, what John Mozeliak did for the past 15 years, 20 years, 15
Right.
years for the organization has been incredible, right? It
Right.
has been. They were in the forefront of thinking, and again, they had teams like saying, "How are they doing this?" And now the line at the end, the little blurb at the end, is like, and then they became one of those teams, right?
Well, and it just
They became one of the teams from instead of being innovative, they got stuck in their old ways. And again, the old ways work to a certain extent.
Well, and I just think Mozeliak just couldn't find the time to get out. I think he just stayed a little bit too long, and that's what and that's the thing. That's why I say the last 4 years. Other than that, hey, great career, but it's just gotten so frustrating now, Luis. It's to the point where I honestly, I'm getting to the point I don't care. Because, in July, I'm not going to be the one getting frustrated that we're still in last place or dead second to last when we saw the writing on the wall. But we'll see. Hey, let's talk about the Blues. They're doing okay.
They're doing more than okay. They're still in the playoff hunt, CJ. Again, they got a good weekend. They won on Saturday 3-2 in shootout against the Wild. So they got 2 points there. The Wild got 1 point. And then yesterday they defeated the Anaheim Ducks 4-2 at Enterprise Center. So again, they are creeping again. This team has again, they were left for dead a week ago, and now they're out of the playoff spots.
Can't be by much.
If I do my math correct here, by 4 points. And they're the first team out. So again, they're not jumping through teams. Again, they're the first team out, and then it's Golden Knights that they have the second spot. So they are 4 points away from the second spot. Golden Knights play today. They play on Tuesday actually against the Lightning, and the Golden Knights again they won yesterday. But again, this team is still in. Again, they're still fighting. They're still in the hunt. They're playing good hockey. They're beating the teams that they will.
Yeah.
That they can't. That they should have. The question mark is still there. Can they string around a good wins with teams that are bad, right? That are good. And on Tuesday they play the Colorado Avalanche. So if they get a W there, then they play the Senators again on Thursday, and then the Wild again next Saturday.
Right, and then the Knights are on Monday.
And then if they survive that schedule, Monday night is a must-see game for the Blues.
It really is. I mean, it's going to be actually fun to watch. I'm excited about that one. And hey, before we talk St. Louis City, did you watch the Man U game with Liverpool on Saturday? Was it Saturday or Sunday? I think it was Sunday.
I missed it. What happened?
Oh my goodness. We talk just real briefly because I know we're supposed to focus on St. Louis, but Manchester United scores a goal in the first 10 minutes. Liverpool comes back and scores one in the 44th to tie it. Then they go ahead in the second minute of injury time in the first half. Anthony came back and tied it 2-2 in the 87th minute. Okay, so it goes to overtime. Elliott scores in the 105th minute to make it 3-2. Rashford scores to make it 3-3, and then Diallo scores in the 120th minute in the first minute of injury time to win the game. Then gets red carded the following minute. United win 4-3.
I want those games to be like it again. If an MLS game can be like that,
I mean, that was a game.
with yeah,
It was
again,
awesome.
okay, scoring right from the get go, then tied before the half, and then it's just haymaker after haymaker after haymaker after haymaker.
Right. Well, and
But
now
no,
speaking of that too, St. Louis had a heck of a showing, didn't they? They were
they did again. I remember last year they played against LA Galaxy at home. It was like a Sunday afternoon, and they just got outclassed and maybe out wrestled a little bit because LA Galaxy was flopping a lot. That it got getting calls, so good for them. But in that game that you described was a little bit the same here with the game here with STLSC and Galaxy, because again, it was Galaxy scores in the 3rd minute, then Ostra scores in the 27th minute, and then Galaxy scores at the 51st minute. Joakim Nilsson with a bicycle kick goal at the 60th minute to do it 2-2. And then City gets the lead actually on an own goal from the goalkeeper from Galaxy, but then in the 90th minute, in basically overtime, extra time, Galaxy scores the equalizer, 3-3 tie. City gets the point. City right now, again, it's still weird but they're in a good shape. They're in 5th place. They have they collected 6 points. They're 4 out from Minnesota United. That's the number 1 team in the West. So again, if they're not winning, they're just at least racking up points. A little bit frustrated they didn't get the win because they feel like after fighting that, putting it 2-2, and then actually getting the lead, they should have gotten the win. But again, they're happy that they got the point, and then they are back at home. It's been a while they've been at home. The last home game was that Saturday night against New York City FC, and that was the 2nd of March. But they're going to face DC United. And our new opponent that is coming through St. Louis City SC.
mm-hmm.
Again, this is the first time both teams have played each other. And again, because DC never played at home here. So that will be on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. So a decent kickoff here in St. Louis.
There you go. And it's just going to be fun to watch. I mean, hopefully they keep going, but it just what was the red card? Was it a warranted red card? Because
okay. I saw the red card, and Sam Adeniran just got a turnover and just started going. Then this defender had 2 choices, or let Sam score a goal, basically,
right,
or take one for the team.
Right. Well, and
took one for the team.
Well, that's different then. That's a warrant, because every game I'm looking on. Every time I look up the scores, here's 3 yellows and a red card. It seems like it's becoming just a common theme in the MLS. Hey.
Well, again, whenever you have officials that ref your games in Alton, and then they're getting the call, hey, can you go to LA here in 2 days? Sure.
Hey, with that being said, a couple of housekeeping things. Number 1, let's start with the St. Louis thing. Do you see our boy running for Congress?
I laughed.
I love it. Ray called me last week, and I think he's going to win. I just had to share that with you. Whenever he told me about it, I'm excited. I think he's going to do well. He was just on with Annie over there, so we'll see what he does. I'm just excited for Ray. The other thing is I am going to be coaching the middle school soccer team, Luis.
I had a source that told me that last week.
So I haven't gotten all the paperwork signed up yet because, well, it's just been last minute. But I do have
Yeah.
tryouts today. We have we have tryouts
Ooh.
today and tomorrow, and then Thursday and Friday. So I'm in the middle of getting my middle school team ready. And yeah, that's the first time folks at home have heard that I'll be coaching the middle school soccer team. I'm excited.
Yeah,
And Dad's over at the high school level. I'll be doing the middle school, and I'll be the one to blame for, lack of. No, I'm just.
No.
I'm so excited about it, and we'll see what happens. But wanted to share that with you too, and touch base as we kind of blew through sports today. That's great.
Yeah, no, again, I get a lot of things going on, but again, a lot of newsy stuff. Again, with the Cardinals, again, doing their spring training.
Doing their
here's the
news
thing,
dump.
too. But here's the thing, too. Baseball technically starts this week.
Does it really? What's this week?
It's the opening series, and it starts on Wednesday. It's the Padres in the San Diego Padres and the Dodgers playing their opening series in South Korea.
Wow.
So game time at 5:05 a.m. on Thursday and on Wednesday.
Well, there you go. And then the Cardinals start their season in just 10 days. The 28th at 3:10. I'm going to assume that that's in L.A. because we don't ever start at home, do we?
Yeah, I know. It's in L.A. No, last year, Cardinals started their season at home.
That's why it ended so bad. That's exactly what did it.
Yeah. Also, another note here before I forget. Sonny Gray is still injured, but wait. But good news is that he's progressed, and they're expecting him to pitch that opening weekend or that opening week. But your opening day starter is now named Miles Michaelis.
I'll be darned. Good for this is what, 2 or 3 in a row, or did Wainwright start last year?
No, Michaelis started last year, and then I think 2 years ago in 21, Michaelis was the starter too.
That's what I thought. Well, that's interesting, man. Hey, keep us up to date and in the loop, and we'll talk again this week.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, it's a lot. So yeah, we may have to do 2 a days going forward.
Might have to. At 9:39, Luis, thank you for your time.
You're welcome, CJ.
We'll take a quick break. Our daily show rolls right around the corner after this in the heart of the 618. Is it time to buy, sell, or even time to consider a short sale of your property? Meet Lisa Webb, owner of 3rd Street Realty. This local, women-owned, family-operated realty group has over a decade of experience in foreclosures, first-time home buying, and so much more. 3rd Street Realty prides themselves on holding your hand through the entire process. Let their expertise guide you to your dream home. Visit 3rdstrealty.com and start your journey with Lisa Webb today.
I just got a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet mine's better. It's so efficient and quiet, I hardly know it's running.
I've got you both trumped. I've got a Linux.
So do I.
Barrett Heating and Cooling carries Linux products to meet any budget. Don't gamble with your energy dollars. Call Barrett Heating and Cooling and start saving today.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
Welcome to Evergreen Place, a community that embodies joyful living, independence, and financial freedom for seniors. If you're looking for a full day of activities or to relax in your apartment, we have you covered. Located on the Alton Memorial Campus. To know us is to love us. Experience the difference at Evergreen Place.
DJ Mike Heath. This is where I am today. Let me show you how I started.
Life's better when you're under our roof. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto and home coverage at the right price. Also, you can enjoy the dreams you worked so hard to achieve. American Family Insurance.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
When life throws unexpected challenges your way, you need a versatile legal ally to protect you. Sean Lentz, with over 12 years of experience, is here to help you in a variety of avenues. From personal injury to criminal defense and even semi-truck accidents, Sean Lentz has your back. Don't wait for the justice that you deserve. Call 618-465-8000 and see how Sean can help you today.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
How do you like me now? How do you like me now? Now that I'm on my way, you still think I'm crazy standing here today. I couldn't make you love me, but I always dreamed about living in your radio. How do you like me now?
Oh, goodness. You know, we're all recovering. You know, I just want to say again, it was really cool to have so many. I felt like just such a, I don't know. It was just awesome to have so many of you coming up saying you watched the show and you enjoyed some interviews. And all I know is that we're all kind of probably feeling the same way today. But that's all right. It makes for a good week and it makes for all the memories that come with it. Hey, let's take you to on this date in history. It is the 18th day of March. And on this date in 1852, Wells and Fargo start shipping and banking company. There you go. On this date in 1852, Henry Wells and William J. Fargo joined the several other investors to launch their namesake business. The discovery of gold in California in 1849 prompted a huge spike in the demand of cross-country shipping. Wells and Fargo decided it was time to take advantage of these opportunities. In July, their company shipped its first load of freight from the East Coast to mining camps scattered around Northern California. The company contracted with independent stagecoach companies to provide the fastest possible transportation and delivery of gold dust, important documents, and other valuable freight. It also served as a bank buying gold dust, selling paper bank drafts, and providing loans to help fuel California's growing economy. In 1857, Wells and Fargo and Co. formed the Overland Mail Company, known as the Butterfield Line, which provided regular mail and passenger service along the ever-growing number of routes. In the boom and bust economy of the 1850s, the company earned a reputation as a trustworthy and reliable business, and its logo, the classic stagecoach, it became famous. For a premium price, Wells Fargo and Company would send an employee on horseback to deliver or pick up a message or packages. Wells Fargo and Company merged with several other Pony Express and Stagecoach lines in 1866 to become the unrivaled leader in transportation in the West. When the Transcontinental Railroad was completed 3 years later, the company began using railroad to transport its freight. By 1910, its shipping network connected 6,000 locations from urban centers of the East and the farming towns of the Midwest to the ranching and mining centers of Texas and California and the lumber mills of the Pacific Northwest. After splitting the business After splitting from the freight business in 1905, the banking branch of the company merged with the Nevada National Bank and established the new headquarters in San Francisco. During World War I, the U.S. government nationalized the company's shipping routes and combined them with the railroads into the American Railway Express, effectively putting an end to Wells Fargo & Co. as a transportation and delivery business. The following April, the banking headquarters was destroyed with a major earthquake, but the vaults remained intact, and the bank's business continued to grow. After two later mergers, the Wells Fargo Bank American Trust Company shortened to the Wells Fargo Bank in 1962 and has remained one of the biggest banking institutions in the United States. In 1776, after 4 months of widespread protests in America, the British Parliament repeals the stamp tax, a taxation measure ensured to raise revenues for the standing British Army in America. In 1933, on this date in history, American automaker Studebaker, then heavily in debt, goes into receivership. The company's president resigned, and later that year, he ended up taking his own life. In 1864, Lincoln praises the Sanitary Commission for work with troops. The U.S. Sanitary Commission Fair in Washington, D.C. closes with President Lincoln commending the organization for its fine work. The Sanitary Commission formed in 1861, the creation of the Northern Civilians Concerned for Union Troops Medical Care. In 1950, in a surprise raid on the Communist People's Republic of China, the military forces of the nationalist Chinese government on Taiwan invade the mainland and capture the town of Sungmin. That happened in 1950. Also, on this date in history, in 1911, Irving Berlin copyrights the biggest pop song of the 20th century, and we got to figure out what that one is, huh? On March the 11th, Alexander's Ragtime Band, the multi-million smash hit that helped turn American pop music culture into a major international phenomenon, both culturally and economically. A century ago, even before the photograph and had become a common household item, there were already a bustling music industry in the United States based not on the sale of recorded musical performances, but on the sale of sheet music. It was in the medium of printed paper and not grooved lacquer on vinyl discs. The songs gained popularity in the first 2 decades of the 20th century, and no song gained greater popularity in the era than Irving Berlin's Alexander's Ragtime Band. That happened on this date in history. Also on this date in music, in 2017, one of the greats and someone who very frequently visited Alton and the Alton Bell, Chuck Berry, died at 90. The American guitarist, singer, and songwriter was one of the pioneers of rock and roll, with songs such as Maybelline, Roll Over Beethoven, Rock and Roll Music, and Johnny B. Good. Berry redefined the developed rhythm and blues into a major element that made rock and roll distinctive. Berry's funeral was held on the 9th of April, 2017, with his cherry red Gibson ES 335 guitar bolted to the inside lid of the coffin, and flower arrangements that included one sent by the Rolling Stones in the shape of a guitar. Also, on this date in history, David Bowie's first album in a decade became the fastest selling of the year, hitting the #1 spot in the UK. In its first week of release, Bowie took great pains to keep the recording of the album secret, requiring people involved in the recording to sign NDAs. Bowie had to change recording studios after one day when someone in the studio leaked the rumor that he was recording there. The next day was the 66-year-old's first #1 since 1993's Black Tie, White Noise, and 94,000 copies sold in the first week. I dropped something. I don't know what it is. In 2011, organizers of an attempt to reunite 19 people who watched the Beatles play in a town hall in 1963 had claims from 24 who said they were there. Billy Shanks was helping to lead the search for the audience members of the gig in Dingwall, Rushire, Scotland in 1963. He said some who turned up thought the music was rubbish and left to join an audience of 1,200 people watching a local band in nearby Strathfifer. Also on this date in history, a lot of us remember this one in 2004 when late night talk shows were still a thing. David Letterman's talk show, Courtney Love was on it, and, well, decided that she wanted to celebrate Mardi Gras a little bit later that year. The singer, who had her back to the audience, flashed at the presenter while singing the song Danny Boy. After the show, she went on to perform a surprise gig at the Plaid nightclub in Manhattan, where she was alleged to have injured a man by throwing a microphone into the crowd. Miss Love was charged with assault and reckless endangerment and made for an interesting night. In 2002, the Ramones, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by Eddie Vedder, the lead singer of Pearl Jam and a close friend of the Ramones. The ceremony took place at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City. In 2001, John Phillips, American singer, guitarist, and songwriter of Mamas and the Papas, died of heart failure at the age of 65. His first band, the Journeymen, were a folk trio. Mamas and the Papas had the U.S. #1 Monday Monday. Phillips was married to Michelle Gilliam. They had one child together. China Phillips, the vocalist of the 1990s pop trio, to Wilson Phillips. His second solo album was released on the Rolling Stones records and featured Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Mick Taylor, and Ronnie Wood. In 1989, a radio station in California arranged to have all of Cat Stevens' records destroyed by having a steamroller run over them in a protest of the singer's support of Iranian politicians in the 1980s. In 1978, the Bee Gees had the top 3 on the U.S. singles chart: Night Fever at number 1, Thicker Than Water at number 2, and Emotion by Samantha Sang, written and produced by the Bee Gees. That was at number 3. In 1972, Neil Young started a 3-week run at number 1 on the U.S. singles chart with Heart of Gold. It was released in 1972 from the album Harvest. It was so far Young's only number 1 in the United States. The song features backup vocals by James Taylor and the one and only Linda Ronstadt. Also, we have a couple of, busy day in music. In 1972, Paul Simon scored his first solo number 1 album when his self-titled debut went to the top of the UK charts, featuring the singles Mother and Child Reunion. Me and Julio, Down by the Schoolyard was on it as well. In 1967, the UK magazine New Musical Express announced that the former Spencer Davis group member Steve Winwood was planning to form a new group with Jim Capaldi, Chris Wood, and Dave Mason. The ensemble chose the name, The Traffic. In 1976, the Beatles scored their 13th U.S. number 1 with Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields Forever. The song's title is derived from the name of the street near Lennon's house in Liverpool. McCartney and Lennon would meet at Penny Lane Junction in the Mossley Hill area to catch a bus into the center of the city. The Rolling Stones were fined in this date in 1975, each £5, $8.50 at the time, for urinating in a public place, following up on the incident that had taken place at a petrol station after a gig at the ABC Theatre in Romford, Essex, England. This was after their last show on their 5th UK package tour with the Hollies, the Conrads, and the all-girl group Goldie, and the Gingerbreads, and Dave Barry and the Cruisers. The groundbreaking Motortown Revue landed at the Finsbury Park, Astoria, London, in England in 1965. England on the first night of the package tour that took them around the UK, visiting 21 theaters for 2 shows a night, plus a live TV special. Topping the bill was Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, the Supremes, Martha and the Vandalias, and someone who was a little bit younger at the time, a 14-year-old little Stevie Wonder. We're all backed by the legendary Funk Brothers. Born on this date in history, Adam Levine, the guitar and vocalist for Maroon 5, had the number 1 in the UK songs about Jane and She Will Be Loved, US number 1 in 2004, and had the album of the year with 5. Also, born on this date, American rapper, songwriter, and singer Queen Latifah. Her third album, Black Rain, in 1973, spawned the single Unity, which won a Grammy and was successful on the Billboard Hot 100. And one final one for you. American musician Grant Hart, best known as the drummer and co-songwriter for the alternative rock and hardcore punk band Husker Du. After the band's breakup in 1988, he formed the rock trio Nova Mob. Hart died on September 13th, 2017 from liver cancer and hepatitis C. And that's a look at all that was born on this day. Oh, wait, no, one final one. Sorry. Big one of my favorites. Born on this date in history. In 1956, Charley Pride, American singer Charley Pride, had 39 number one hits on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. That is just incredible. His greatest success came in the 1970s when he became the best-selling performer on RCA Records since Elvis. Pride became the first black country musician to be inducted into the Grand Ole Opry. He died on the 12th of December, 2020. At the age of 86, but what a hell of a performer. 9:57, that's what happened on this date in history. We'll come back, top of the hour news. We are not going to talk to Madison County Theatre Company. They had a pretty serious situation. We're going to talk to them on Wednesday or Friday, and we'll just keep it at that because I don't share secrets. At 9:56, we'll take a quick break. Our daily show comes back and hits you next. Is it time to buy, sell, or even time to consider a short sale of your property? Meet Lisa Webb, owner of 3rd Street Realty. This local, women-owned, family-operated realty group has over a decade of experience in foreclosures, first-time home buying, and so much more. 3rd Street Realty prides themselves on holding your hand through the entire process. Let their expertise guide you to your dream home. Visit 3rdstrealty.com and start your journey with Lisa Webb today.
I just got a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet mine's better. It's so efficient and quiet, I hardly know it's running.
I've got you both trumped. I've got a Linux.
So do I.
Barrett Heating and Cooling carries Linux products to meet any budget. Don't gamble with your energy dollars. Call Barrett Heating and Cooling and start saving today.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
Welcome to Evergreen Place, a community that embodies joyful living, independence, and financial freedom for seniors. If you're looking for a full day of activities or to relax in your apartment, we have you covered. Located on the Alton Memorial Campus. To know us is to love us. Experience the difference at Evergreen Place.
DJ Mikey. This is where I am today. Let me show you how I started.
Life's better when you're under our roof. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto and home coverage at the right price. Also, you can enjoy the dreams you worked so hard to achieve. American Family Insurance.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
When life throws unexpected challenges your way, you need a versatile legal ally to protect you. Sean Lentz, with over 12 years of experience, is here to help you in a variety of avenues. From personal injury to criminal defense and even semi-truck accidents, Sean Lentz has your back. Don't wait for the justice that you deserve. Call 618-465-8000 and see how Sean can help you today.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it, 'cause he knows it's all worthwhile. He told me, let the children lose it. Let the children use it. Let all the children.
Welcome back. 18th day of March. You know, I celebrated Stone Cold Steve Austin Day the right way. We got a lot to talk about in top of the hour news. As I said, we had a medical little thing that we're going to push back, and we're going to talk to Patrick McRae today. Madison County Theatre Company will be on Wednesday or Thursday. With that being said, here is what's happening around the Riverbend. Make sure you sign up for your breaking news alert so you'll always stay up to date and in the know on everything that's pertinent to our Riverbend region with Around the Riverbend, always on RiverBender.com. And before I do that, make sure you download our app too, where you will always stay up to date and in the know as well. And that way you don't have to worry about getting all those emails. It's right on your phone, just like the Big Four does it too. Those Big Four news stations, you just get those dings and you're taken care of. But at 10:03, here's what's happening around the Riverbend. Out of East St. Louis, we touched on this earlier. Just a brief recap. Illinois State Police did conduct Operation Nighthawk on March the 11th through the 13th in St. Clair and Madison counties, focusing its efforts on East St. Louis and neighboring Metro East communities. The operation utilized intelligence and technology to target known high-crime areas, violent offenders, and structured criminal groups in the communities of the Metro East. There were several notable events and arrests during the detail, but in total, here's what we know. There were 32 arrests, 56 felony charges, 69 criminal charges, 47 firearm-related charges, 19 firearms seized, and 199.1 grams of controlled substances were seized as well. Also in the news, overall respiratory virus levels remain at a moderate rate according to the latest CDC data, while COVID-19 hospitalizations have continued to decline in recent weeks. The IDPH reported the total number of COVID hospitalizations declined 16% in the weeks ending March the 9th, and the state remains at a low level for COVID-19 hospitalizations according to the CDC COVID data tracker. The data showed that 2 Illinois counties remained at a medium level for COVID-19 hospitalizations, the same as the week before. Also in the news, out of Granite City, the Granite City High School had 10 students earn academic honors from College Board, as they announced on Friday. The National Recognition Programs are 4 programs that celebrate the strong academic performance of rural area Black, Indigenous, and Latino students. Because of the success of the National Recognition Programs, the 5th program will be added this fall, National First Generation Recognition Program. The following students were recognized from GCHS: Trenton Klutz, Armando Hernandez, Elijah Cobb, Savannah Kawawa, Cleason Miranda Gomez, Dave Patel, Noel Ritchie, Emily Saggio, Fred Sensauci, and Hector Villa. College Board is honoring 72,000 students nationwide who met the academic criteria and belong to an underrepresented student group in the 2022-23 academic year. This was the first year that students could apply for the award on Big Future. It has resulted in a 16% increase in the number of students awarded compared to the previous year. Students had to meet the following criteria: have a GPA of 3.5 or higher, earn a PSAT or 10 assessment scores that are within the top 10% of test takers in each state of each award program to earn a score of 3 or higher, or 2 or more AP exams, and attend a school in the rural area or small town. For more information about Granite City School District number 9, you can visit gcsd9.net. Also in the news out of Edwardsville, 2 separate cases of auto theft were presented this month by the Madison County Sheriff's Office, and others include charges related to weapons. According to recent court documents, Spencer R. Price, 29, of Godfrey, was charged with aggravated unlawful use of weapons and offenses related to motor vehicles on March the 5th. According to documents, Price possessed a Ruger LCP 380 handgun, which was uncased and unloaded with immediately accessible ammunition while he had a no concealed carry license. The guns, located inside a 2006 Pontiac Grand Prix, bearing no registration, which Price reportedly knew to be stolen. The Madison County Sheriff's Office presented the case against Price, in which he faces a Class 2 felony for the stolen vehicle charge and a Class 4 felony for the weapon charge. Court documents indicate he was released upon his signature of conditions of pretrial release order. Tavion T. Griggs Sanders, 27, of St. Louis, was charged with unlawful possession of a motor vehicle and burglary. From March the 2nd through the 3rd, Griggs Sanders reportedly possessed a 2006 Toyota Tundra that he knew to be stolen, and also entered a garage building without legal authority with intent to commit therein a theft, according to the court documents. Madison County Sheriff's Office presented the case against Griggs Sanders, who faces a total of 2 Class 2 felonies. Court documents indicate he was released after signing a condition of pretrial release order. Also in the news, in his 1777 book, The Unsettling of America, Wendell Berry identified 2 different perspectives when viewing land: the exploiters and the nutriers. An exploiter looks to the land as only a vessel to yield him great returns. He looks to gain the most profit with the least amount of work possible. The exploiter doesn't care about what the future holds for the land. They only care about the immediate returns, usually at a blatant expense of soil, health, and longevity. The farming economy is currently undergoing a downward shift. They had consecutive years of high prices, and supply is outweighing demand in a way that makes margins tighter. Tighter margins will inevitably lead to less farmers. They experienced this shortly after the book was published in the 1980s, and they will experience it again, as what they're saying. They will look up in 2 years and have less farmers. However, we don't have less land. If you look at the number of acres farmed in the United States, the number has remained virtually unchanged since 1935. In 1935, there were just short of 7 million farms in the United States. That number decreased rapidly, from 7 million to 2 million around 1980, and has been on a slow decline since. If you have any comments or questions about this Ag Corner, you can feel free to reach Jonathan Greifel at gmail.com, and you can find out more information along with the Farmer's Almanac. Also in the news out of Belleville, a Belleville woman previously charged with making racially charged threats against DCFS employees and more was recently charged with intimidating, stalking, and harassment by telephone. In the latest case, she reportedly left multiple threatening voicemails threatening employees of a local nonprofit animal rescue, Partners for Pets, repeatedly demanding they bring her dogs that were in their custody. Shannon Benavides, 44, of Belleville, was charged 1 count each of intimidation, stalking, and harassment, each stemming from the same incident on January the 30th. The description of the stalking charge describes 1 text and 3 voicemails that were sent each on the 30th. The defendant sent a message via text to the victim demanding that the victim return certain dogs in the custody of Partners for Pets. The defendant left a threatening voicemail to the victim and threatening to... Wow. This is the first time I'll put a disclaimer up ever in a newscast. This is something that was in the report, folks, and I'm just going to read it. The defendant left a voicemail threatening the victim and threatening to, quote, rape the victim's children should she fail to return the dogs. Wow. On or about January 30th, the defendant left a voicemail demanding the victim return certain dogs in the custody of Partners for Pets. On or about January the 30th, the defendant left a voicemail demanding the victim return the certain dogs in the custody of Partners for Pets. A petition to deny Benavidez's pretrial release indicates the victim, in this case, is a Partners for Pets employee, and states that the defendant, the suspect, placed multiple threatening calls demanding some dogs given to her. She faces a Class 3 felony for intimidation, a Class 4 felony for stalking, and a Class B misdemeanor for harassment. Her latest case was presented by the Madison County Sheriff's Office and she was reportedly remanded to jail until her first initial appearance in court. The issuance of charges is based solely upon probable cause and is never an indication of guilt. All suspects are charged with criminal offenses are considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Wow. Out of Alton, Paper Plane Ministries will host its annual Easter egg hunt with over 15,000 eggs starting at 4 p.m. on Saturday, March the 30th at Riverfront Park. Families can enjoy games, bounce houses, free food, and pictures with the Easter Bunny. The egg hunt begins at 5:20 p.m. and is expected to go out quickly, warns event organizer David Bersagi. He said there are over 1,000 attendees at last year's event, and they hope to reach the same numbers this year. There will also be prayer tents for those who would like to pray throughout the event. People can purchase food from food trucks or enjoy free food provided by Paper Plane Ministries. Paper Plane Ministries is a local organization that ministers to young people. They transport children to local churches and host block parties in all neighborhoods. They're eager to connect people with churches and service opportunities. He also emphasized that the Easter egg hunt is an event for the entire community with no strings attached. They don't want donations, and all expenses for the event have been donated by business sponsors. Borsagi said they simply want to love on community members. We've been serving Alton for several years now, and we really feel like there's nothing like this in Alton where the investment is pure in the sense that this is just because we love the community. So instead of treating our people like they are means to an end, we're trying to treat them like they're an end to themselves. We want them to be able to just love on them with no strings attached. That's the whole idea. How can we love as many people as possible? Kids will hunt eggs in their appropriate age groups, and he said there is also an area designated for children with special needs, which will include beeping eggs for visually impaired and eggs on tables for people in wheelchairs. Paper Planes Ministries asks people to register their children before the egg hunt. For more information about the event, you can visit the official event page on Facebook or visit paperplanesministries.org/egg hunt. At 10:14, it is 28 degrees, and, well, it feels like 26 degrees out there. Today will be brisk and chilly, as we've experienced this morning with sunshine and patchy clouds. Tonight, clear and cold. If you have any early plants that you already got out there, some early vegetation, they can be damaged tonight with that frost and freeze that's coming into effect. Temperatures will reach just about 40 degrees today and drop down to 26 pretty quickly overnight. On Tuesday, a high of 66, a low of 35. On Wednesday, a high of 53, a low of 31. On Thursday, a high of 47, a low of 40. And then on Friday, a 55% chance of rain, 57 for the high and 38 for the low. But let's take a look at downtown Alton. Come on, let's see how that's looking out there. That is a picturesque sky at its finest. That looks like the walls on Andy's room in Toy Story. That's how blue that sky is out there. And then always great to see all of the downtown landmarks in all of their glory and all the fun that comes with that. You can see the sky cam in real time all the time at RiverBender.com /weather. And for time and temperature throughout the day, you give this phone number a ring, 618-465-4545. This time powered by Tom Lane. He is your local State Farm agent. Before I take a quick break, there was something that was really on my mind. And you just have those spur of the moments that you just lose it all. I do that quite a bit. Over the weekend, something happened, and it just was amazing to me. Oh, man. I'm forgetting about it already. You can tell it's a Monday after St. Patrick's Day weekend. Oh, that's what it was. what I thought was really cool about this last weekend was the fact that everyone was really well behaved. I wasn't, completely gone to remember that. It was so cool to have everyone just enjoy it. Every spot we went to. I mean, we went everywhere. But to really just say everybody enjoyed literally every moment of the night was really cool. And there was also something else that I wanted to fill you in on, and that is regarding Raging Rivers, because there's so many of you guys that listen to the show that are business owners, or maybe you're even, crafters out there, you're vendors. There's a vendor opportunity I'm going to share with you right after this quick break at 10:16 right here on our daily show. But before I do that, Denise Sparks, SparksJunkRemoval.net. She is the queen of junk, and now she's the queen of trash and junk. She took on the big boy. I have said it time and time again. We need to rework our garbage contract because my trash is still sitting in my garbage can from 2 weeks ago. They just stopped picking it up. I don't know what I did to offend them, but it's all good because I know that if I ever did have the opportunity to call Denise Sparks and Sparks Junk Removal, that my trash would be picked up on a weekly basis and there'd be no problems. I'd actually save a little bit of money too. There were some folks that talked to me this weekend that said, actually, we signed up for Denise after she was on your show, and what happened is she said they've said, the families, and they never look back. I mean, they're lowering their bill each month, plus they're talking to a local company where they get that local company on the phone. Listen, we all work throughout the day. So by the time 4:30, 5 o'clock hits, you better rush to hit that 800 number because ain't nobody answering your call until Monday. Not at SparksJunkRemoval.net. They live local because they are local, and they love local too. And that's why I love Denise Sparks. So whether or not you need them for your trash service, if you're in the Glen Carbon or if you're in the Brighton, Bethalto areas, Bunker Hill, you name it, Sparks Junk Removal is the way to go. Or if you need her for her traditional junk hauling services that she's been known to be the best at because, the city's getting ready to start writing you tickets because your yard's looking a little cluttered. SparksJunkRemoval.net. That's SparksJunkRemoval.net. And reclaim your space today. 10:18 is the time on this 18th day of May. We'll take a quick break. Our daily show hits you next right after this in downtown Alton.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone. And over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Dream Home Realty Center.
Hey, Sherry, talk to me, Dream Team.
We've got showing.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or a weekend warrior, gear up with Foul Commit and elevate your hunting experience. From rugged gear for the seasoned hunter to adorable outfits for the little ones, we've got your whole family covered. Literally, because the best moments are made in the great outdoors. And with Foul Commit, you're not just wearing gear, you're wearing the stories of your adventures. Discover the joy of hunting together. Visit FoulCommit.com and outfit your family for the next generations of memories.
We are Phillips 66 Wood River Refinery. We make the fuels that take us to work and our children to school. We make materials and energy products that allow us to stay connected to each other. We care about the quality and safety of our products because we care about the communities we share. Our employees live our values of safety, honor, and a commitment to act as good neighbors where we live and operate. We are Phillips 66. When life throws unexpected challenges your way, you need a versatile legal ally to protect you. Sean Lentz, with over 12 years of experience, is here to help you in a variety of avenues. From personal injury to criminal defense and even semi-truck accidents, Sean Lentz has your back. Don't wait for the justice that you deserve. Call 618-465-8000 and see how Sean can help you today.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Whoa,
everyone. Welcome back to this 18th day of March. We are all still recovering from St. Patrick's Day, but the individual in the studio, the Deputy Chief Treasurer, Deputy Chief? I always get that darn title wrong. I always do. I always say Deputy Chief, the Chief Deputy Treasurer of Madison County. Patrick McRae, you got your walking in last weekend, so you didn't really have the St. Patrick's Day shaboozies that I had. But still worn out, I'd assume.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, worn out. It's been a long campaign. It's been a great campaign, but a lot of walking, a lot of door-to-door, talking to voters, and so it's been fun.
Well, and how has that been? What are some of the things you've heard on the campaign trail?
You know what? It's really good. Honestly, the reception's been great. Anytime you see somebody at the door, I've never had so many people willing to talk, and I've had some great conversations, but really most of the questions just center around what party are you, and then after they kind of figure you out, and obviously I'm running as a Republican, so I'm running the Republican primary for Circuit Clerk, and so most people, they don't know what the Circuit Clerk does.
Right.
So they say, what exactly is the Circuit Clerk? So I kind of explained to them, the Circuit Clerk it's a big operation in Madison County. It basically is the day-to-day management of the courthouse staff, and there's roughly 70 to 80 people there who work in the courthouse every day. So your job is basically to run those various departments.
Well, and it's important because if you don't do it the right way, then all of a sudden you start seeing a lot of cases stalling and a lot of things that lead to bigger issues too.
Well, you know what? You make a good point there. I mean, a lot of people are waiting a year or two or even 3 years for their day in court.
Right.
So it's incredibly important that these people, get their day in court and that everything is filed appropriately and correctly. And really, I mean, even if whether you're just a person there pays a triple simple traffic ticket or, an attorney with hundreds of filings, I want everybody to receive white glove service there.
Well, 100%, Patrick, because I think that's what adds to the morale of a community and a county, because if you know that, hey, whether or not you're going because, you were going 15 over in a 40, you name it, or if it's something more serious, at least, hey, they're taking care of me. It's not going to be 3 months and I haven't heard anything. I'm not, it's not St. Louis County where you're, waiting years upon years for answers. And that's what I think is so important about the job at hand at Circuit Clerk.
Well, no doubt. You have to work hand in hand with a lot of stakeholders.
Yeah.
There. I mean, you're talking about, attorneys, the prosecutors, the judges, the Supreme Court. There are a lot of stakeholders there, and it's just really important that you have a person that can manage those relationships and that understands, how delicate that balance really is.
Right. And now take me through your time, leading up to this as the Chief Deputy Treasurer. How does that, in your opinion, prepare you a little bit, even though it's a different department? Sure. How does it prepare you at least for this role going forward?
Well, yeah, in my day-to-day job, I do manage the staff there in the Treasurer's office, and we've got a great staff. I mean, they're just insanely talented, incredible people. I appreciate them. But, we work along many of the same lines. We've got the same union contracts. We negotiate the same way. We have the same hours, mostly the same paid holidays, things of that nature. So the issues of management are generally the same across the board. Now, obviously, you have a little different setup over in the Circuit Clerk's office, but still very similar in a lot of ways. But, we do a lot of things in the county treasurer's office. I know it's been a big talk recently about our investment portfolio.
Right.
And my opponent's got an ad out there that's hitting me saying, oh, you lost $12 million in the county's investments. It's just silly. It's just these are things that just aren't true. And it's sad that we even have to refute these things, but we've never lost a single penny in the investment portfolio. And we actually have the top performing portfolio in the state of Illinois.
Well, and on top of that, not to cut you off, Patrick, but whenever you hear something like that, because whenever you hear losing $12 million, and now it's you're saying we haven't lost a penny. How do you kind of contradict that on the trail? Because it's so far off from what maybe one party already heard. It's got to be tough in that spot, too.
Well, and I think Republicans, too, are kind of used to fake news being thrown out there these days. So, when you tell people, hey, look, it's fake news, this is it's sort of a typical thing in today's day and age. But the truth is, like Chris Slusser and I, we inherited a portfolio that was making about $1 million a year in generated revenues in the investment portfolio. And then under our direction, we made that make $1 million a month in investment revenue.
Wow.
So it's a night and day difference. I mean, there's just there's no comparing one to the other. And, and a lot of that really is due to Chris. Chris has really taken that head on. His day-to-day in the office is really managing that investment portfolio, and he's done a great job. And the truth is, we're bound under the Public Funds Investment Act to invest in very secure investments already. So obviously, we're not making the returns that you could make in the open market as an individual like you and I, but we're still able to generate a lot of returns just by simply putting those investments into buckets and reinvesting that money to do our best to avoid interest rate risk and things of that nature. So But no, I'm really proud of our record there. I mean, now we're, in the short time we've been there, we've generated over $34 million in investment returns. Wow. And that $34 million is $34 million that we don't have to spend in additional property tax dollars. So it's helped the county board either cut the tax levy or held it flat every year for the past 6 years in a row. And that's also similar to my record on the Wood River Township Board.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's something I want to talk to you about because, it seems at this point in the year, even though you have throughout the year there was trash issues and maybe grants, you name it, PTEL, now, and it kind of goes into that, it seems like all people care about at this point in the year is looking at that bill or that letter they just got in the mail for their assessments. And, and whenever you're talking with folks about this, because this is where I find your position fascinating, even though you're running for circuit clerk, that's still, I'm sure, one of their biggest concerns.
No doubt.
And it's like, well, how do you answer that?
Yeah. Well, and it's an interesting question. The treasurer's office is tasked with collecting the tax dollars. So we don't set the rates. We just collect the funds.
Right.
So really, what we can do is run on our own record and say, you have to look at that tax bill and break it down to see which taxing district is actually increasing taxes and which taxing district isn't. Mm-hmm. And on the Wood River Township Board, I've been on the Wood River Township Board for about 11 years as an elected trustee. Mm-hmm. And so for the last 11 years, we've either cut the tax levy or held it flat for 11 straight years. Wow. I don't know any other municipality could possibly hold a candle to that, other than maybe Godfrey. Actually, the village of Godfrey has done incredibly well. Mm-hmm. Mayor Mike McCormick there has done an excellent job.
Yes,
and Mike actually has endorsed me as well. So great guy, doing great work up there. But yeah, I mean, we are really only two of the municipalities who have been able to accomplish that. I'm very proud of that record.
And that's important to talk about, especially with your previous time currently right now in the treasurer's office.
Sure.
And that's what I always just find fascinating because you hit it right on the head. A lot of folks aren't that, I don't want to say educated, but aren't that informed on the roles of elected officials. So I think that's what leads to a lot of the gray area of people getting frustrated, but they're getting frustrated because it's not that individual's job.
No,
so that's why I think it's really important when you're talking and you're hearing these things about property taxes. I'm sure they hit you with the gamut of things that are affecting them.
That's very true.
And then, how does that tie into the circuit clerk? And that's what I think is so that it's so important to have the job you do in communicating that, because you're going, hey, I agree with you, but here's what I want to do in this department. But if we support such and such over here, we can get to that goal.
Well, I think you did. You just hit the nail on the head there, really. Oh. And I have the and I appreciate that. I do have and it's nice for me when I'm talking to voters. I can say I have a record.
Yeah.
My record is doing more with less.
Right.
Cutting taxes, holding them flat. I understand what it really means to be a true fiscal conservative, and I am that guy. And my record reflects that. And in contrast, my opponent's done just the opposite. He was on the county board for 10 years, and for 8 consecutive years, he voted with the Democrats to increase property taxes. He was the only Republican on the county board that voted for 8 consecutive years to increase property taxes. And now, and I heard him, last week he was on the show with conservative caucus guys, and they had said, hey, we need to be a conservative. Well, my question is, what does it mean to you to be a conservative? Because to me, being a conservative, number one, is about taxes here in Madison County, and number two, it's about the other issues. I'm obviously a member of the NRA, Illinois State Rifle Association. I'm an avid sportsman. I'm pro-life. I'm on the Catholic Charities Board. I'm a practicing Catholic. Mm-hmm. I think all of these things are incredibly important when you're talking about who we're electing here and what it means to be a conservative. But conservatives, in my book, aren't increasing taxes, and I have a record of not doing that. So,
and that's where I think the biggest problem with the general public is right now, because, and this is something I've said both times, whether it's conservative caucus or not, is it's confusing. It's like, wait, so there's a lot of this infighting and there's all these things being thrown out. Do you think that damages the Republican Party in Madison County longevity-wise when you have these type of primaries?
Well, listen, I think when you look at it, really the Madison County Republican Party is still a very young party in a lot of ways.
True.
We didn't really take things over until 2016, right? And we hadn't had control of the county board since World War II before that. So I think when you're looking at the party itself, we are just now up and coming. Now, that said, I've been helping Republican candidates get elected since I was just a kid. I think I went to my first Republican Central Committee meeting when I was maybe 12 or 13 years old. So, yeah, by the time if you look at my voting record from the time I was 18 until now, not only have I never missed a primary, a general election, or a municipal election, I've been actively involved and engaged in every one of them.
Right.
I've helped elect good conservatives from top to bottom. So when I hear these things about, you know, oh, we're vetting these people and these are the real conservatives, I think, well, you're not in my opinion, you're not vetting them very well.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I'm a real conservative, and I've got a proven track record of that. And I think anybody that knows me, I mean, since probably my years in junior high, would say, yeah, Patrick McRae's the real deal. So, but yeah, I do think though, you know, when it comes to the brand, I think it is important that, you know, we do continue to elect good conservative people and that we support the right candidates. But really, the Conservative Caucus folks came out a few years ago and they tried to take over the Republican Party. But they're a very small group of people. So they made up about 8% of the Republican precinct committeemen in Madison County. So they wanted to kick the chairman out, our current chairman, Ware Wesley, the chairman of the Republican Party. And 92% of Republican precinct committeemen in Madison County voted to keep him. So when you look at that, I don't really think of it too much as really aggressive infighting.
Right.
I think of it more as like a small group of people who there's plenty of room for everybody in the party. But I think they had an idea that they quickly wanted to ramp up and do certain things that wasn't going the way they wanted. So they decided to go out on their own, which is perfectly fine. I'm happy for them to do that. But I think if they would have just stuck around, they could have contributed too. Right. You know, it's a big tent. We've got plenty of room for everyone.
Well, and that's really interesting to hear and really enlightening too, because you never really see that, especially during primary season. You know what?
Sure.
You know, the arms open thing. It could have happened. That's really fascinating. You have a moment to stick around?
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
10:33. I got to pay a quick bill, but we're coming back with candidate for Circuit Clerk of Madison County, Patrick McRae, right after this on this 18th day of March on RiverBender.com.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
RiverBender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBenderRadio.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Still trying to make a name, knowing nothing's gonna change what I
10:35. Welcome back to the last interview of the election season. You know, it's weird for me to say that in March.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
You know, I'm not taking any shots at anybody,
Yeah,
but
sure.
the public. So many people have called in and texted me or sent emails going, "Well, how come you don't interview anyone on the other side?" And it's like, well, we just can't this time. This is your general election, Madison County. I mean, you know, the way it looks, this is 100% who wins tomorrow is who's going to be in November.
Well, more than likely. Now,
Right.
I will say, you know, a lot of people don't know this, but the parties, and see, like just 10 years ago or so, even in the Republican Party, when Republicans weren't winning, what we were doing was, instead of giving, we wanted that element of surprise.
Gotcha.
So the party can get together and do what they call slating a candidate to run. So what they do is they get together in the summertime, and as a party, their precinct committee people vote to basically put a person on the ballot to represent them in the general election.
I'll be darned.
So as long as you get the majority vote there, they will stick you up there. And so there is a good possibility that they will field candidates for these positions in November. I never take any of that for granted. Now, I do think that this year's it's going to be a terrible year for Democrats. I think, Joe Biden's on the ticket, and he's been a disaster. And you've got Biden on Trump, and I just think in Madison County, Biden doesn't sell the voters here.
No, he does. And you can just look at the last couple of elections.
Exactly.
And that's not even a political talking point. That's just fact.
No, it really is.
40 degrees today, and that's just kind of what happened. Well, and getting back to Circuit Clerk, ideas, I think that one of the best things being done is the digitization of the Circuit Clerk's office. And it's something that when you say it out loud, you go, the first thought for me, Patrick, is, why hasn't that been getting done already? This is kind of, and this is something that should have been done 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But, it's being done now and currently being done under the McRae administration of
That's
a different
right.
name. And your dad's, Tom McRae's done some wonderful work in the digitization
Appreciate that. He really has, yeah.
But are you looking to continue to add to that? Because it streamlines
Absolutely.
a lot of things.
It sure does. It really does. We talk about how we can save time, how we can, utilize our resources better.
Mm-hmm.
And one way of doing that is digitization. It's such an easy topic, right?
Right.
I mean, by digitizing these files and these documents and getting them on a searchable format, not only does it make it more accessible to the public, but it makes it more accessible to the employees.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saving employees time, you're saving the public time, you're making things more transparent. I think it's just incredible. And over the last 4 years, they've really started these digitization really ramped them up, I will say. They were doing some stuff before, but now they've really ramped it up, and they're really pushing this, and I think it's fantastic. And I look to continue that trend.
Well, and I'm sure, too, just going back to what I first, started talking about 20 minutes ago, was the fact that it's just a morale booster too, because that frustrates people whenever you're at work. You can send an email and you can find all these files from your day-to-days, but when you have to go to the county, you're like, man, I'm going back in time here. I gotta wait 4 days, or I gotta get this, and now we're waiting some more. It's a really great way to help get that frustration out of there.
Well, that's right. The more we can be accessible to the taxpayers of Madison County, just a win all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly should be doing that every chance we get.
Well, and another thing I wanted to ask you, and this is something that was brought up the last interview I did with Mr. Adler and the Conservative Caucus, was about, hey, your dad's running, your dad is the circuit clerk now, and now here comes Patrick running.
Yeah.
In a world where St. Louis in this area has been known to, everyone always likes to throw out the nepotism. That's how nepotism this, nepotism that.
Yeah.
Let's dispel it right now. I want to really ask you this, because it's one thing to run. But whenever you're running, not just running because of your last name, but running right after your dad's getting out of office, there's more than just nepotism there. I would assume there'd be some pride knowing, hey, if I'm taking this over, I got to keep up the legacy here.
Yeah, well, it's not even so much legacy necessarily, but it is, my dad ran. He's been an excellent circuit clerk. I'm super proud of the job that he's done these last 4 years. And, I was one of the folks that helped recruit him last time. He sacrificed a lot of income and a lot of time to go do that, and he really wanted to go do something big for the taxpayers, and he's done it. And I think really in his heart of hearts, he would have loved to have done another term. But also he's at that age where I think you have to decide whether or not that this is something you want to do full time every day. He takes it very seriously, and he's there every day. And I've been asked, do you think it's an advantage to being a McRae? And I do not think, I'm running in an open, free, and clear election.
Right.
My dad's retiring from the job, and I'm excited to carry on that torch of leadership in the office. But what I will say is that I do think it is an advantage to be a McRae, but it's not just because of my father. And my father's he's just such a great guy. He really
wonderful. He
anybody
is a wonderful
that knows
man.
him says he has a certain level of respect that he commands when he walks in the room. Just an excellent guy. But he's one of 7. And his siblings are all doing big things. The McRaes in general, the McRae family, incredible people. I have 25 first cousins on the McRae side. I can't tell you of a single one that's a bad egg. They're just all good people. They're all actively engaged and involved in the community. And I think the McRae name is sort of, synonymous with public service, and people think of the McRaes as doing good things. And I do take a lot of pride in that, certainly. I appreciate the hard work that my family's done to do big things for the taxpayers of Madison County and just for the community at large.
Right. And on top of that, though, Pat, and that's why I think this is such an interesting point, because, here it's not this, it's the same, but not, because my family's all soccer. We started soccer here in the area in the 70s, and there's all that goes with it. But
absolutely.
It's all about, to me, people ask me to coach and they do these things, and it's like, well, how do I add on to it and add my own legacy to this? How do I add my own track record? And for you, how important is it to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, Dad is there right now. We have a great family. We're doing great, but this is my chapter of the book now, and here's what I'm doing going forward.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. It really is just an incredible opportunity. I think it really is a, holding public office is a special thing.
It is.
And, I think that people don't really understand that until they bite it off. But I hold it to such a high regard. I really, it's very important to me that I do things the right way, and that I do it the way that, the best that I can for the people of Madison County. It really is personal to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and getting back to that too, the people of Madison County, I love the door-to-door campaign. I think that, and folks that don't realize this, in other states in Missouri, you don't see a lot of that really happening. You just don't. But for you guys, how important is it to be on the ground instead of just putting Facebook posts out there?
Oh, you know what? It's incredibly important. I think that people only understand what they can. You got to hit them every way you can.
Right.
Online, at the door, in the mailbox. You really have to do it. You have to do all the traditional ways of campaigning. But it's also important that people know your record in contrast to your opponent's record.
Mm-hmm.
And my opponent, he has numerous public pensions. He's eligible for Social Security benefits at his age. And here he is. He's running for another taxpayer-funded job. And, if he was elected, he would be making more than $240,000 a year in taxpayer-funded income. And I think that's wrong. And just a few years ago, Republicans on the county board passed a referendum to be placed on the ballot. And voters, and this was in a general election, voters were to decide whether they thought people should be able to receive a full pension, a full state or county pension, not a military pension or anything like that, but a full state or county pension, and then be able to run for office and receive a full salary while they were receiving those pension benefits. And overwhelmingly, more than 2/3 of voters said absolutely not. They voted no. We should not be allowing this. And here we are. We've got a guy claiming to be a Republican who's saying, he was here last week on the radio show saying Democrats are running as Republicans. I'd like to know who the examples of these Democrats are. Well, I just don't know it, and it certainly isn't me. And when I look at this, I think, who in the past, we have as a party have just railroaded against people doing exactly what my opponent's doing. And to have any sort of group claim to come out and be conservatives and support that is just absolutely wrong. And not only that,
right? No, keep going. Yeah, you're fine.
Well, my opponent was also was forced to resign basically, and it was just reported in the Madison Record. And I don't know if you had a chance to read that, but
yeah, we polled it too, and I think we had something like that was running very similarly.
Yes, yeah. So it basically said that he had threatened a county employee's job to secure a political donation, used his official position to secure special privileges. Made a derogatory comment on a person's sexual orientation, and he failed to provide complete, accurate, and truthful information during the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And so he did resign, but obviously when you're faced with something like that, you have no choice but to resign. And that was when he was an administrator at the county. He had left the county board, had been hired in as an administrator under Prinzler's regime there, and you see what he did with just the small amount of power that he had as an administrator. One can only imagine what a person like that would do in a position of authority like the circuit clerk when you've got 80 employees working underneath of you. It's just, and then meanwhile, again, going back to saying somehow that that I'm not a conservative, well, that's hilarious to me that I'm endorsed by every leading county Republican, Sheriff Jeff Connor, State's Attorney Tom Hain, Auditor David Michael, County Clerk Linda Andreas, the Treasurer Chris Slusser, my boss and friend. And State Senator Jason Plummer, the #1 recognized most conservative senator in the State House in Illinois. All of these folks are endorsing my candidacy, and my opponent hasn't announced a single endorsement. And that's not to mention the mayors and the law enforcement officials. Chief of Police Nick Novosich down in Granite City, obviously endorsing me. We've got a lot of folks out there though that are endorsing from the law enforcement. And obviously that plays into being the circuit clerk. You have to have very close relationships with these folks. And these are the folks that are coming out for me. Saying, hey, I think this person would be an excellent fit for the job, and my opponent doesn't have any endorsements.
Well, and one thing I would like to mention too, because that is a great point. You know, Mr. Adler's had a long time in public service, whether it's whether you say good or bad, it doesn't matter. He was there. You know, when you're running against someone like that who has decades of track record there. How hard is it, for you going, hey, I might be a younger guy. You might heard of him. You might have worked with him before. But, hey, here's what I can do. I might be younger, but age is not an issue here. It's all about policy. Because that is, sometimes older people really do kind of look to maybe not go towards the younger candidates all the time.
Well, there is some truth to that. Now, I will say, though, and they've kind of hit me on that.
Yeah.
They've said, oh, this guy's, he's 36 years old, but I do feel it is kind of funny. The county auditor, David Michael, he and I are the same age. Tom Hain, the state's attorney, he's a year older than I am. He's 37 years old. So, most of our countywide elected officials are in that age group, and we are getting to that stage, where the folks like myself, I can guarantee you that I'm going to be in that office every single day working my tail off for the people in Madison County. And can a guy that's retired twice is eligible for Social Security benefits and now wants to return back to the workforce, do you really believe that guy's going to be in there 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week? I just, I personally don't believe it. And then you have to ask yourself, who is he going to hire to run the office? And I think a lot of people are concerned that he would hire the former IT director or former county administrator who were terminated, for a litany of reasons. I think everyone has seen that online, and if you haven't, I encourage you to look it up. I mean, basically these folks were fired for a lot of different things, and none of them good.
It was a lot.
A lot of really terrible things there. So, you worry that they bring those people back into the fold. And one of those folks, the former county administrator, he is the one that runs my opponent's social media page. So he's constantly out there posting on his social media, and everything that is duplicated on his own personal page, he immediately posts to my opponent's social media. And so you could tell that he is the administrator for his social media campaign. I think you could say is really his campaign manager. And that's troubling in its own regard.
Well, and that's actually a very interesting segue, because that's something I never even thought of. Well, you got to have a functioning office, you got to have a functioning staff to make sure that you have a successful 4 years. What are you looking to do in terms of staff-wise? Keeping things the same? Are you looking to keep folks, add to it? What's it going to look like in November?
No, I wouldn't say that we're looking to add bodies. No, I think, though, status quo in terms of headcount right now looks good. You don't know all of these things until you're there.
Right, I'm sure.
So there's going to be a deep analysis of that. And as things, progress, if we're able to get some really good projects rolling, and we're able to streamline some processes, then maybe due to attrition later on, there'll be a lower head count, But I will always look for ways that we can continue to do more with less. And I'm going to look at that budget every year. I take that very seriously. And in the treasurer's office, I've either come in under budget, or cut the budget every year. I mean, I have a really, I have a track record of that. Anywhere that I've ever been, I have more than a decade of budgeting and management leadership experience. So I think that, that's right in my wheelhouse.
Is there anything right now in terms of technology, we talk digitization, that you're seeing that, hey, if it all works out, this is what I would like to start adding to it? Because there's a plethora of opportunity out there in terms of streamlining, but what's the safest way to do it in terms of securing data and making sure that's all locked down? Is there anything that you saw besides records and everything else that you think, hey, this could be a pretty good fit too for us?
Yeah, I think there's several things. I think a couple, though, are right now they do have some texting for court date reminders, but that program could really be expanded. We could take that to new heights. There's a really talented IT team there at the county, and I know that with under their leadership in that IT spectrum, they would easily be able to take that to the next level. But there's a lot of things, different push notifications, reminders. Obviously we talked about the texting, the digitization, and in the digitization field, not only are they digitizing the documents, but they're digitizing and compressing those documents. And doing that, it takes away a little of the image quality, but it also it makes it much easier to store and much easier to search, and it still keeps those documents searchable. So I think there's and technology is rapidly improving every day. There are so many things, though, that we could be looking at. The possibilities are endless. And, e-filing is a big thing happening now,
Yes,
too.
it is.
And, another thing my opponent said that he really doesn't understand. He talks about e-filing, and he says, people are paying an attorney to stand in line because they can't e-file. Well, that's just not true. E-filing is available, and attorneys know that e-filing is available, but there's also ways for those attorneys, sometimes they want to get in front of these people, and other times they want to make sure they're talking to a specific person, or they have a question about that filing, and
That's
they
a good
need the
point.
same level of service sometimes than anyone else needs. And just because they're utilizing the courthouse doesn't mean it's because they don't know how to do a filing. I think that's just,
Right. Well, that's a good point. That's something
Yeah.
I didn't even think of. And as we're getting back to the I guess the meat and taters of all of this, Patrick, as you're meeting, we talked about the county split. The red wave hit in 2016. It's stuck. I mean, you just look at the numbers are there. So whenever you have an opponent that is chastising you as not really a rhino, but not a Republican, whenever you meet with the folks at the door and you start talking about, the NRA, you start talking about the things
Yeah,
that
sure.
identify you as conservative. Do we get some head scratching moments out on the campaign trail?
Yeah, it is kind of funny. I mean, we just recently, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but the Conservative Caucus folks put out there, hey, we're not going to do any of this negative campaigning. It's not for us. And then what do you know? Just a couple of days ago, there's a mailer that comes out that is a lifelike photo of a pig, and it has lipstick on it, and it's got my name, Patrick McRae, on there. And then another one of same thing, a lifelike picture of a pig, and Chris Slusser's name with a cigar in its mouth. And just full of lies and inaccuracies, and it says paid for by Madison County Conservative Caucus. So it's like, they say they're going to stick to the facts and stay above the fray, but their very first opportunity, this is the kinds of things that they do. So it's just so fake. It's such a fake news. Yeah, so I do think, though, it is laughable, and some people see through that. I think those types of things backfire.
Mm-hmm.
And, Fred Schulte's a guy, he's running for county board in Edwardsville against Dwight Kay, who was also here the other day. And they just did a negative mail piece on him, and it was Fred was a small business owner. He owned Edwardsville Frozen Foods. He was a meat cutter. And so they had a picture of Fred on this negative mailer in his apron with like a butcher knife, and it says, Fred is a good meat cutter, but would be, Fred was a good meat cutter, but maybe he should go back to his day job. Well, Fred's been retired for years, and why would you put a person down for being they're trying to make him less than because he's a meat cutter? Well, you know what? I'm sure Fred is very proud. His family has has ties to Edwardsville. They have ties to Edwardsville Frozen Foods. He was a proud small business owner. To even do something like that to a person, to stoop to that level, is just horrible. I mean, what are these people thinking? And I'm proud of the campaign that I'm running. I'm proud of the campaign that my friend Chris Slussers ran for county board chair. We have stayed above the fray. We've called people out on their record, which they deserve to be called out for. Your official record is, obviously is fair game. But when you get into putting pictures of people with pigs and putting lipstick on them and putting cigars in their mouth, and you get into putting someone down for their for their work, I just think that's just sleazy. It's terrible.
Well, and that's what, and just not to go back to it, but that's what I kind of meant by the optics of it all. Because, I don't see all the mailers because, I don't. And maybe thankfully not, I don't know. But, it's just whenever you see those things and you're like, well, come on, guys, you're supposed to be on this team. But now, we're still competing against each other, but it doesn't have to be to where, you're creating bad optics for Madison County that way. And that's what I meant earlier asking you that.
Absolutely.
That's what I meant by it.
No, you're right. And it's fair game. Calling somebody on the record is totally fair game. Calling doing these types of things though, totally below the belt. Totally below the belt, unacceptable.
Just in my brief time knocking doors, there's always one conversation that kind of keeps you going throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Has there been one for you? Because, and I don't know if that's for sure, but for me, there's always that one house that really just keeps me motivated. Did that happen?
Honestly, you know what? I think that's a great question. It has been incredibly energizing to knock on doors. Knocking on doors is tough. You start knocking, and the first couple of days you go, you're kind of pulling yourselves through the motions. All right, I got to get to some more doors. I need to talk to a few folks. But as I continued, the days were long at times, but the weeks were short. And some of these folks that you talk to, I mean, like you said, are just so incredibly energizing. But to put it to one would be really hard. But I know in one day, I think I knocked on 5 or 6 doors back to back to back, and all of those people were so incredibly encouraging. And, one person, I met a guy in Godfrey, actually, a super good guy. He's now posted about me on Facebook several times, made several Facebook posts on my behalf. It's got a lot of attention. He hosted a little meet and greet for me that went really, really well. But these are the folks that you meet and you just say, man, I really feel like I did something today. And I have felt like I've done that every day that I've been on the doorstep. I really have. I've enjoyed getting to know some of these folks that I haven't met before. a lot of people in Wood River Township know me, so the Bethalto, Wood River, Roxana, that whole area, they've got to know me really well over the years. But some of the other places I'm not as well known, so it's been really nice to get to Highland and Troy and St. Jacob and Godfrey and Alton and Collinsville. It's really been great. So and super energizing. And now I look forward to it almost every day. I'm like, all right.
Let's do
going
it.
back to the door, and I can't wait to meet a few people today. So yeah.
Well, it's 10:56, and Patrick, you are my last interview until tomorrow night for politics, because RiverBender.com will be bringing you guys the election night coverage like we do each and every time around the gauntlet. We'll have some insights. We'll have conversations with folks like Patrick if they win the election. If they don't, we'll still talk anyway.
Yeah, well, I'd love to talk with you.
But as it sits, you got about 24 hours until the craziness. All the fun hits you on Tuesday morning.
It's crazy right now. Yeah, it's going to be crazy though. You're right, absolutely.
But what does it mean for you and your family at this point? You're all the way through it. You got a couple more days until the hard part's over, and then now, like you said, waiting to see who's slated to run. But what's your kind of thought for all of them that kind of stuck by you throughout all of this process?
You know what? I appreciate you bringing that up, and I should have said something earlier. My wife, Marissa, is just the light of my life, and my kids, my twin boys, Rory and Grady, they're 6, and I'm more proud of my family than anything else, and I feel incredibly blessed to have a wife and kids who have stuck by me, and they totally understand what I'm doing, and they love it. My kids have gotten really engaged. They've done some ads for me.
I saw them.
Oh, they're great, and they say my dad's a great daddy, and he's going to be a great circuit clerk. And my son Grady says, I'm Grady, and he's Rory, and we approve this message. And it's the best ad. And my wife. She is a saint. She's a 4th grade teacher at a little private school here in Godfrey. She teaches
really
evangelical.
Cool. Yeah.
And she has just been incredibly supportive. She knows I've had a lot of late nights, putting out signs, a lot of late evenings, knocking on doors. And, I've had a lot of events, and she has been just a rock through the whole thing. And I just can't say enough how incredibly blessed I am to have such a great family. So yes. So, and I am ready to give them a break. So, my poor wife, she has done so much for the kids too. And I try to be home at bedtime every night, get the kids to bed before I go back out to do anything else. But, and I try to eat dinner at home, and I try to put the kids to bed before I do anything. I just want the kids to have that, that sense there of dad being there all the time. I don't, I never want to be known as or thought of as a father, an absent father.
Right.
I love my family more than anything in this world. So I'm ready to give them a little reprieve here, and I'm ready to get the kids out in the boat and do a little fishing and
enjoy it.
Absolutely. So.
Well, all I can say is, like I tell everyone, best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
All the hard work. And for anyone voting tomorrow, I do want to say to anyone running, it takes a lot to throw your name on the ballot. And regardless if you're for them or against them, regardless who it is, there's a bit of respect that goes to that, because a lot comes with that.
It does.
On the ballot.
It does. And it is a stressful thing. And obviously, many times it's thankless work. And I really mean that. Usually when you do something wrong, everyone knows about it. And when you do something right, maybe a few people hear about it. So
you're right.
It's one of those things that really can be at many times a thankless job. And although you have a lot of people around you, and you're running for an office, and you're actively trying to get votes, it still can feel very lonely at times too.
I bet.
You're out there and you're working hard, and you just don't know where you're at and where people are. And so it always feels nice to have those people, those reassurances, and the people reach out to you and say, hey, you're doing great things, keep it up. And I've had a lot of those people. I mean, just today, State's Attorney Tom Hain called me this morning, Auditor David Michael, State Senator Jason Plummer, all 3 of them called me this morning and said, hey, and Chris Slusser, County Treasurer Chris Slusser, all of these guys called me today and said, hey, man, you're doing great. You run an excellent campaign. You've been working your tail off. We're looking forward to Tuesday. And I appreciate all of those folks calling and more. Others too. I mean, many other people, family, friends. I really do appreciate each and every one of them.
Absolutely. Well, you better give me a call tomorrow night. We'll ask how you're feeling around 7:30 or 8. And in the meantime, I will see all of you guys back here live at 9 for more of our daily show tomorrow. And then, of course, our election night coverage. I'm getting out of here early. I got middle school soccer starting, and I got tryouts.
Well, thanks for having me,
No
CJ.
problem,
I appreciate
Pat.
you letting me be here. Yeah, it's been great.
On that note, all of you have a great day. And like always, try your best to stay out of jail.